Well, hi again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football, and this is the 2026 NFL Draft Prospect Show. We are featuring Vincent Turner, who's on the lower portion of your screen. Joey Clinkscales is in the upper right. I'm Harper LeBel. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Today, we're going to talk about D'Angelo Pons, cornerback out of Indiana. And guys, here's a gentleman that because of his height and his weight, you would think that maybe he's in the wrong sport. But you can't measure a guy's heart. And D'Angelo Pons comes out of a nice high school program in Miami. He's in Hollywood, Florida at Charlemagne Madonna Prep. He wins the 100 and the 200 meters in track at state championship, and he's not highly recruited. He ends up forgoing a couple of places where he probably didn't want to go, but he ends up at James Madison, and he's playing with a guy named Curt Cignetti, who ends up leaving after his freshman year to go to Indiana. Because he had a great freshman year, he had 2 interceptions, he had 51 tackles, he had 13 pass breakups. He was a freshman All-American in a Sun Belt conference that is a small view, but there's some good play there. And obviously James Madison turned some heads in a lot of different areas. I believe that was the year that they played they played Appalachian State last game of the year. 25,000 people on the campus for the NCAA, the warm-up show on ESPN. It was fantastic. Great for them. He ends up going after 30 offers, and he follows Curt Cignetti to Indiana, and what a difference that made. 24-25, he's an All-American both those years, all Big Ten first team both years. He's the MVP of the Rose Bowl. He had that pass breakup, 6 interceptions, a Peach Bowl MVP as well, 2 block punts during his career. And Joey, when I get to you, I want to talk about the significance of special teams that he's going to have. But the 43-inch vertical at the combine, here's a guy that nobody really knows a whole heck of a lot. But when he shows up in the room, even though he's not impressive, he impresses. Vincent, we'll start with you. Give me a little bit of your background on what you've discovered about D'Angelo Pons and why you think that he might move up on the charts, especially with his vertical and his 40 time after the combine.
Well, I like his size, even though he's a small guy, 5'9" guy that's very competitive. He's got elite ball skills. He's an excellent run supporter. And most of all, as you just mentioned, Hop, he was MVP, both in the Rose Bowl, both in the Peach Bowl as a defensive MVP. And then we want to put a little nickname by his name, Playmaker at the highest level. And when you think about his size, and I thought about some players back in the day when I was in high school before I went to college. And I was thinking about all them little small cornerbacks that were real physical with the LA Rams. Where you from, Harper? Remember Pat Thomas out of Texas A&M?
Sure do.
Rod Perry out of Colorado? Leroy Irvin out of Kansas? He puts me in the mind of those 3 gentlemen right now. Small, tough, and very competitive. And we'll hit you. Back to you, Harper.
Yeah, he's a tough guy now. Joey, if you measure heart, which you can't, I think that has a lot to do with it. But let's be honest, he's a 5'9" guy. He weighs maybe 185 on a good day. Size matters in a lot of cases. And in football, will this be a deterrent for him? Even though his 40 time is excellent, his vertical is off the charts. There are things about what he does, like Vincent just said, he's a hard-hitting dude. But talk a little bit about what the intangibles mean to you.
Well, the intangibles will play a big factor in where this guy's drafted. He is a really good football player. He's shown that at both James Madison and Indiana. He's got a lot of accolades behind his name of the things that he's done. He's blocked punts in his career. He's returned 2 punts for touchdowns in his career. He's had a total of 4. So it tells he's probably not he'll have to prove that he can be a punt returner in the NFL, but he has block kicks in his career too. So the things you see on tape tells you that he's probably a nickel corner. You can't put anybody that size on the outside and expect him to cover the big receivers, the big physical receivers that are in the National Football League. But you can't measure heart. He's got a lot of courage. He's a good tackler. I'm not going to call him a headhunter but what I will call him is uber competitive. He is tough. He's physical. If he sees it, he'll come up and support. Every now and again, you'll see him get engulfed by big guys. That will happen. That's going to happen at the next level. That's just because he that's just genetics. that's the nature of it. However, the skills that he has, he uses them to the utmost of his ability. He's got really good hand-eye coordination, his ball skills. I like it's a really smooth pedal that he has. And a lot of times in today's football, you don't see guys that have a true natural back pedal. And you don't always see that in him either. I had to go into some of the drills to see him move with his hip flexibility and hip quickness and his ability to put his foot in the ground and change directions. And you see some of that, but you better see that when you're talking about a guy that's 5'9". Okay, so the things that he has to do because he's vertically challenged is what I'll call it, are the things that he's able to do to be a productive player. So he reminds me a little bit. I'm not going to go quite as far back as Vincent went. Some of the younger viewers in our audience, I'll talk to them. A guy like the reason why I'm bringing this guy's name up because I think this guy was really tough. A guy that was a 7th round draft pick, and this kid will probably be, I'm guessing, a second, maybe 3rd round draft pick. But this guy was a 7th round draft pick, and he made first team All Pro in 2008. A guy named Cortland Finnegan. He went to Samford University, and not Stanford, but Samford in Birmingham, Alabama. He played probably 10, 12 years. He had a really good career, and this guy reminds me a lot of him because he's tough and he's got really good feet.
Joey, before I move on, you mentioned something about his punt blocking. You don't always see something like that, but for a guy, especially later in his career, to be able to do that's a special teams coach's dream, is not have to teach a guy how to do it, but for natural ability that he has and just kind of fine tune. Do you think that will have any effect at all? I mean, if he can do it, I think he may not make the team like Albert Lewis used to do, but Albert was one of those guys, if you didn't block him, you were going to pay for it. Do you think he has the potential just from a initial contact? He'll learn a few things from a special teams coach, but just his ability to plug and play and put him on special teams, a punt return possibility, but especially as a guy that might be able to block kicks. Is that another feature that most coaches will be licking their chops to see?
Well, he's done it, and that's the thing about it. He's done it at a college level, and the thing you like about him is his get off, his initial quickness, and those are the things that will transfer from one division to another division. The fact that he knows how to get off the ball. Now, angles, technique, all those things are coachable and teachable, but his initial burst off the ball are the things that makes you think he has a chance to do that at the National Football League level.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. And just for clarification, in slow motion, a guy will usually get his 3rd foot in the ground, step, 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 from the time the ball is snapped to where the punter receives it. And then you have 4 steps, most likely, between the time that the punter receives the ball and begins his motion to where the ball actually leaves his foot. And if he can get those 7 steps and around maybe a tackle, a linebacker, a big safety who's a personal protector, he's got a chance to do some damage. And that's just from my perspective. That's something that's really, really key and important. Vincent, back to you if you don't mind. Let's go back and finish up with a second round of questions. In terms of D'Angelo's pedigree, if you will, he was a champion at James Madison. He was a state champion in the high school level. He wins a national championship in Indiana. What does that mean for you in terms of, I already know that this guy takes the game seriously. He's already played extra games that have tremendous significance in front of a lot of people that you don't normally play in front of. What does that mean in terms of your bird's eye and looking at how this might affect where he is positioned in terms of the other quarterback room that are on draft day?
Not scared of the moment. Big time player, big time games. As you just mentioned, he was the defensive MVP in 2 major ball games in the playoffs. Then most of all, let me throw another name out there. He's got a little Ronnie Barber in this game, former Hall of Famer with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Just love the football player, man. When you watch him play on the field, he seemed like he was always in the right spot. Seemed like he always made the right play. Seemed like he made the right tackle. This gentleman right here, pound for pound, is a very excellent football player. And then what I like about him, he took his game up. He came from James Madison. Then he went to Indiana, took his game to another level. and showed you that we talking about all these other great cornerbacks, especially the young man, Mr. Masoud Delane, who ran a 4.35 the other day at LSU. We've been talking about him all week. Well, let me tell you something. We need not to forget about Mr. Pons. He's a very good football player. Back to you, Mr. LeBel.
You know, at 5'9", a smaller guy, how does he go against a 6'2", 3, 4 if he's on the outside? Joey, I think, does the vertical have anything to do with it? Like if it's a 50-50 ball, he may not come down with all of them, but if he comes down with half and at least is able to deflect because of that 43-inch vertical, let's just assume that he doesn't get 43. But if he's in the mid-20s, that's still, he's getting way up there, in at least fighting for balls and very competitive. Is that something that you saw on film too?
Well, I did see some of that, but mostly it was, he was able, because of his quickness, to handle the back shoulder balls more than winning the 50-50 ball. And again, I mean, the thing we can't underestimate is the fact that he had a 43.5-inch vertical at Indy. But that guy on the other side of the ball, he's got a vertical too, and especially that guy's 6'3", 6'4", if he's 6 foot, that's almost a 4 inches size difference. So and again, this guy's 182 pounds. So let's be clear, he is not playing on the edge. Nobody is playing this guy on the outside. You're drafting this guy as a nickel, and in the National Football League, that nickel guy is almost like a starter because the way the offenses are set up, the nickel guy is like a starter. But this guy will not be an outside corner in the National Football League, because if he is, you're going to run sweep and you're going to run power at him all the time, because a guy that side just can't hold up on the outside.
Yeah,
that's the reality of it.
You beat me to my next question. Is he going to have to run around a tackle or a pulling guard in order to at least try to stuff a play up, or make sure that it doesn't go much further than the line of scrimmage?
Well, the rule in the National Football League, as of a couple years ago, he definitely can't cut him anymore. So he is not going to be able to run through him. He's going to run around him, or he's going to get driven to the sideline. And that's not just a guy that's 5'9". That's a guy that's 6'3" as well. If you don't take that guy on or run around him, that guy's coming with a head of steam. So in the old days, you could cut that offensive line coming at you, but you can't do that anymore. So you have to stay up. So
exactly,
that'd be problematic.
Yeah, good thing he has a 4.3 40, because if he can go around somebody and then get back in the lane, or at least make a tackle or a guard miss him, he's got a chance. But size does matter, and he on a run play, he gives up. Your defense is only really going with 10, but if you got a guy that fast that can cover on third and anything, right, he's going to be one of those guys that could be advantageous. Final thoughts, Vincent?
Hey, it's a young man. I think as Mr. Clinkscales said, it's going to be a guy that's going to play in the slot. I think he's going to be drafted by a team that's going to fit the scheme for him to play in. I think he's going to make a lot of plays at the next level. And I think he's going to be an excellent special team player also. Coming out of Indiana, first team All Big Ten, his 2 years there, All-American last year, a national champion. What more can you want from a football player? In my opinion, they keep progressing up the charts. Back to you, Mr. LeBel.
Appreciate it. And Joey, how about you? Final thoughts here about D'Angelo Pons?
Yeah, I think D'Angelo is a really good football player. He's going to have a chance to, again, he have to develop into a returner, but they're going to ask him to do so, along with a guy that can have a chance to block punts, and he's going to walk in the door as potentially a nickel corner. So we'll see what happens from that standpoint and go from there.
Well, there you have it, everybody. D'Angelo Pons, cornerback. He's only a junior, 5'9", 185 pounds, out of Indiana. He's originally out of Hollywood, Florida, out of Chaminade Madonna Prep. He was a state champion in the 100 and the 200. He can fly, and he might make somebody's team a lot faster in the National Football League. We appreciate you being a part of the show here today. Thank you for watching. This has been 100 Yards of Football. It's been our 2026 NFL Draft Prospect Show featuring D'Angelo Pons, cornerback out of Indiana. Hope you have a fantastic day. If you like the show, please like and subscribe. Tell a friend if you don't mind. In the meanwhile, have a fantastic rest of your day, everybody.